Okay, so picture this. You are completely exhausted, fast asleep in a totally foreign city and surrounded by your friends. Sounds safe, right? Well, suddenly, your eyes flutter open in the pitch black. A blinding flashlight is pointed directly at your face, and a stranger's face is hovering just inches away from yours in the dark. Your heart literally jumps right into your throat.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into the anatomy of a travel nightmare. We're going to cinematically deconstruct 3 true, totally harrowing encounters drawn directly from actual traveler accounts. We're looking at the exact moments where the script suddenly flips, where a dream vacation rapidly morphs into a real-life psychological thriller. And look, these aren't ghost stories. These are grounded, terrifying reality checks from Thailand, Belgium, and Norway.
So, let's dive right into our first psychological trap, false security. Every good thriller needs a quiet, unassuming beginning, right? It's basically this psychological illusion of safety created by beautiful surroundings or just routine circumstances in an unfamiliar environment. Our 3 travelers all began their journeys completely lulled by this profound sense of security. I mean, they were surrounded by beauty or just doing utterly mundane things, completely oblivious to the fact that the stage was actively being set for a total nightmare.
And the thing is, predators actually rely on these traps of a false sense of security, like idyllic locations, routine activities, or just blind trust in boundaries. Let's set the scene for a second. In our first story, a 24-year-old solo traveler is just soaking up the sun on the idyllic beaches near Krabi, Thailand. Affordable, beautiful, friendly people. In our second story, a group of friends is driving through the stunning wilderness of the Norwegian Arctic Circle for a hike. And in our third, a 17-year-old student is on a highly structured, safely chaperoned school trip in Brussels. Beautiful locations, normal activities, and a total blind trust in their locked hotel doors.
But let's zoom in on that student in Brussels for a minute. He's just 17 years old. It's day 4 of the trip, his friends crash early, but he's kind of craving a bit of a thrill, an adventure outside the itinerary. So he hops on Tinder, matches with a girl, and sneaks out of the hotel into the night. It starts as this fun, adrenaline-pumping excursion. But after the date, the cinematic tone dramatically shifts. He's thrust into this sketchy, poor neighborhood bathed in neon lights. Prostitutes are literally tapping on glass windows with long nails. And then, the freezing September rain starts pouring down. To make matters worse, his phone, his absolute only GPS lifeline back to the hotel, dies. He is 17, entirely alone, and completely lost in the pitch black.
And this brilliantly illustrates how an environment can just turn on you the moment the sun goes down. During the day, a road is just a peaceful coastal highway or a scenic mountain pass. But at night, it becomes an isolated, inescapable trap. This is exactly what happened to our travelers in Thailand and Norway. In Thailand, a simple evening scooter ride back from a roadside restaurant turns super sinister when an unidentified scooter pulls up behind the traveler. It perfectly matches his speed, slowing down when he slows, speeding up when he speeds up.
Okay, let's jump over to Norway and look at this timeline of the Norwegian pursuit to see how this builds. The friends are on a grueling 7-hour drive from the airport to a tiny fishing village. It's midnight. The overtake. The designated driver passes a seemingly normal Golf on an overtaking lane. Nothing aggressive, just the standard maneuver. But the driver of the Golf takes extreme offense. He rides their bumper, backing off only to blast them with these massive, blinding roof floodlights meant for dark Arctic winters. For an hour, this intense cat-and-mouse chase just accelerates through desolate, single-lane roads straight into the quiet village.
Which brings us to the 1 a.m. dead-end confrontation. The travelers try to lose him in the winding streets of the village, but they hit a total dead end. They're forced to turn the car around and literally face their pursuer. The stalker's small car actually tries to block them in. With some frantic wheelwork, the driver manages to squeeze past. But as they pass, they see the stalker. His face was cold and expressionless. His eyes simply stayed locked on us. The sheer terror here is just palpable. This is a highly remote area of Norway, right? Hunting guns are perfectly legal and common. They have absolutely no idea what's waiting in his front seat, and the nearest police station is 40 agonizing minutes away.
Now, while Norway was an immediate high-speed chase, the escalation in Thailand was a much slower, more insidious burn. Look at the sequence. After outmaneuvering that scooter stalker by retreating to a busy gas station the night before, our traveler thinks it's over. But the next day at noon, right on the beach, he spots a man sitting near the tree line. The man isn't looking at the ocean, he's just watching people, and he's wearing the exact same dark jacket as the stalker on the scooter. When the traveler leaves the beach, this guy follows him at a casual, calculated distance. It is a stalking sequence straight out of a horror film.
Which brings us right to the climax of the Thailand narrative. 2 a.m. The traveler wakes up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. His room is on the ground floor.
separated from the dark jungle by just a single pane of glass, illuminated by a tiny sliver of moonlight coming through the curtains. The front desk is completely closed. He is entirely alone. Suddenly, he hears something outside. At first, he figures it's just an animal, but then comes the unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching on the ground. The footsteps walk up and stop directly outside his window. He's just sitting there, frozen in the dark. 10 seconds pass in agonizing silence. Then he hears a noise at the door. One slow turn of the door handle. It is this gentle, deliberate, absolutely terrifying test of the lock.
The handle goes back to normal. Silence again. The footsteps move away from the door. Desperately trying to convince himself it's just a confused guest, the traveler slowly stands up. He reaches out and pulls back a tiny, tiny corner of the curtain. A man was crouched directly beneath the window, looking right up at him. The second the stalker sees movement behind the glass, he stands up and vanishes into the pitch black. All right, let's snap back to the Brussels breach and look at how easily that illusion of safety shatters. Remember our 17-year-old student? He eventually found his way back to the hotel with the help of a local in the freezing rain. He locked the door behind him, completely relying on the building's assumed security, automatic lock systems, an exclusive student building, and safety in numbers with his 3 roommates. But the harsh reality? In his panicked, freezing rush, that heavy main door likely didn't latch shut behind him. So at 4 a.m., that flashlight wakes him up. An intruder had bypassed all supposed defenses. And when confronted, the intruder calmly fabricates this brilliant manipulative lie. He claims he's from the lobby, helping a student named Samuel find a lost visa. He literally uses their deep exhaustion against them, casually rummaging through their bags right in front of their tired eyes before vanishing into the night with a laptop, a visa, and their personal items. These predators are just relentlessly cunning. Let's shift back to the freezing Arctic roads of Norway to see the terrifying math of their climax. So, as the friends finally approach the outskirts of the town with a police station, their original stalker slows down. Suddenly, from the side of the road, 2 more cars pull out. One in front of him, one behind him. That single predator has just morphed into a predatory 3-car convoy traveling like a pack. The friends are desperately following Google Maps to this police station, only to find it located in a pitch black, totally deserted industrial harbor full of warehouses. And when they pull in, the station is completely dark, seemingly empty. The convoy splits up, clearly anticipating this exact move. While the friends sit trapped in their car, waiting 5 agonizing minutes for a dispatched officer to arrive on foot, they watch the darkness. We could see the cars now circling like sharks in the distance. Finally, a large police officer emerges from the shadows, sees the terrified group, and offers to escort them out of town in his van. But as they pull out of the harbor, the original stalker drives right past them, locking eyes with the driver in that same motionless stare. The driver slams on the brakes and lays on the horn. The officer pulls the police van out, physically blocking the stalker's golf. When the officer approaches the car, the stalker, who turns out to be an average-looking man with a thick Eastern European accent, opens his door and mutters this deeply unsettling line, still staring at me, by the way.
So we're entering the final act here, the lingering shadows, because the absolute most chilling realization of all is that these predators largely walked away. Think about it. The Norwegian driver, the officer noted he had technically committed no crime by simply driving on a public road at night. He was literally allowed to drive away. The Brussels intruder vanished into the city with the stolen belongings. And the Thai stalker, the hotel owner actually revealed he was a known local menace who stalked tourists for days, but he always disappeared before the police arrived. He was never apprehended.
In fact, hours after fleeing that hotel in Thailand, our traveler stopped at a convenience store on his way to a safer town. As he paid for a bottle of water, he just glanced out the window, and there it was. Across the road, a scooter was parked beneath a tree. The rider in the dark jacket was just sitting there, watching the store, watching him. The moment he realized he was spotted, he started the engine and drove away into the periphery, leaving the traveler to just wonder how he had perfectly tracked him across multiple locations.
And that brings us to this haunting conclusion. It's the exact question that still plagues that 17-year-old student from Brussels. Did that intruder randomly happen to find an unlatched door, or did someone follow him through those dark, neon-lit alleys in the freezing rain without him ever noticing? Were you a random target in the dark, or did you unknowingly invite them in? I'll leave you to deeply ponder that the next time you lock a hotel door in a beautiful, unfamiliar land. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and thank you for joining me on this explainer.